Something I really harped on a lot in the book was the like hypocrisies that I noticed around me, and the idea. My neighbor is working out. I'm sorry if you can hear it. Um,
Okay. Gabrielle Korn is a Jewish lesbian writer who has seen it all when it comes to LGBTQ plus media. She was the editor-in-chief of Nylon magazine for 2 years and has worked at the likes of Refinery 29 and Autostraddle, and most recently has taken over Netflix's queer-specific LGBTQ plus brand on social media, Most. In her new memoir, Everybody Else is Perfect: How I Survived Hypocrisy, Beauty, Clicks, and Likes, she spills all the tea on the media world and her own journey when it comes to self and body positivity. Please welcome to Logo Live, Gabrielle Korn. Gabrielle, how are you? Welcome to Logo Live.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and to meet you.
Of course, I'm so happy to have you and talk about all things your book, your career, just everything. But before we get started, I ask all my guests, what is she giving? What are you giving us today? I see a beautiful outfit. I see some cute background stuff, a red lip. What are you giving us today on Logo Live?
Great question. I'm giving author.
Yes. Yes, we love author. And speaking of author, congratulations on your memoir. What does it feel like to have your fucking name on a book?
It's so scary. No,
Yeah.
but thank you. I mean, it's been a really long time in the making. I started working on it a few years ago at this point. So there's been enough build up for me to like get used to the idea. It's still scary and exciting. I got out of bed at 4 a.m. today, which has literally never happened in my life. So
Yeah, especially during a pandemic, that is something to be very proud of.
thank
But
you.
you know, the book has been coming, like you said, for a while, and it's deeply personal, a lot of stuff in it that, you know, it's a memoir, obviously, but how does that feel to put that out into the world?
It feels like people reading my diary. It's like it's the most personal thing I've ever done, and I needed to make it really personal in order to make it a compelling read. So I was really intentional about it. And when I was writing it, I tried to like have empathy for my future self and think about like, okay, what am I going to be comfortable with people reading and asking me about for the rest of my life? But even though I was thinking about it like that, it feels really vulnerable. I feel like I exposed a lot of things that a lot of people don't know. So yeah, I'm hoping that it resonates.
So, in a world where everyone's so quick to share their thoughts, we have our phones just at our fingertips to go, go, go. As someone who's written a damn book and had to go back and revisit and rewrite, what is one lesson that you've learned in that whole process?
That it's okay to take your time with something, which is like the opposite of what you learn when you work in digital media. Like as an editor on the internet, you're rewarded with how much you can churn out. And I've never spent this much time on a piece of writing, and it's the thing I'm most proud of. So I think the value in just taking your time is like my biggest takeaway.
Listen, everyone, take your time before you send that tweet that you might regret.
Amen.
So, the book, I wanted to ask you, was revisiting these struggles that you write about in your book, was it cathartic in any way as a writer?
It was really cathartic. And a lot of the writing that I did about the things that were the hardest to talk about, like my eating disorder and sexual assault, I had already done as a way to process in real time what was happening. So by the time I had a book deal, I already had a ton of writing that was really, really raw and personal about those topics. I think what, what was hardest about putting it together was there being a point to writing about all of that. Like, I didn't want to just like share gratuitous details about my mental health for the sake of sharing it. I wanted there to be a thread, not necessarily a takeaway, but like a point. And I think the point is that like it's not that uncommon when you live in New York City and you work in media to struggle with an eating disorder, to have experience with assault, to have like crazy things happen to you all the time, and to just feel like
Mm,
your life is chaos. The thing that I pulled out from all of that was that there's this attitude that people have towards millennial women, which is that we are entitled. And I think in labeling young women entitled, what people are saying is you should not take up space, you should not be anything other than happy to be here. And I think that keeps us really stuck.
In writing your story and putting yourself out there in that way, what is the one thing, if there could be one thing you pick that the reader takes away from your story?
The one thing. Um, I,
I know it's like, well, I hope you take more than one thing, but
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, something I really harped on a lot in the book was the like hypocrisies that I noticed around me, and the idea that there's a difference between the way things are branded and the way people are treated. I hope that that connection sparks some aha moments for people, because I think we're in this like really weird cultural moment where people feel like they have to police their own feelings about themselves
Mm,
in order to be a certain way. And I think that comes from being barraged with messaging that tells us we have to be a certain way. So I hope that it gives people permission to not trust everything that they read and that they see, and to question when they feel like questioning.
love that. I needed to hear that. Switching gears just a little bit. Well, you're the former editor in chief of Nylon Magazine, and under your leadership, the magazine really took a great turn towards more inclusivity when it comes to queer people. And can you talk to us a little bit about some of your favorite moments?
Totally. So I became editor in chief in September of 2017, on the same day that the magazine folded. And at that moment, I had the opportunity to think about, okay, what do we want to take from the magazine's history and what do we want to leave in the past? We kept the idea of covers because the nylon covers were really iconic, but I changed all of the themes. And within the cover stars that we picked, really prioritized queer people and people of color, and created some like annual themes to make sure that those parameters would always be met. There were some really amazing moments, like the first February that I was editor in chief, I did a Black History Month cover with all young Black up and coming models, and Roxane Gay wrote the intro, and that was really amazing. We created a Pride cover, which was the first time there had ever been a Pride cover at Nylon. So the first year was Haley Kyoko, and the second year was Samira Wiley. I loved both of those a lot. And then the last cover I worked on, I actually wrote, and it was Tess Holiday. And
Mm.
she's so incredible. And she ended up coming out as queer to me in the story. So it was just this amazing moment for all of us.
Those are, I mean, all of those names and just all of that, what you brought to the party was such an amazing moment, and really, I feel also helps other publications and media really take to see Nylon and to see what you did there and be like, we can do that too. And it's so great to see. Do you, as you know, a boss, have any advice for young, especially queer women who are, you know, looking to advocate for their work and to really put themselves out there in this world that a lot of times says, no, we're good?
I mean, it's really hard. It was hard when I was coming up. I think it's still hard. If you love writing and editing and storytelling, you have to just go for it. And you have to know that at times it might be uncomfortable, but that's other people's discomfort. You don't have to take it on. You don't have to make yourself smaller or more palatable or something that you're not, so that other people are okay with you.
Media, it's a lot of times kind of a mess. And you know, with your expertise, I'd love to ask: are there some publications and just media outlets that are doing right by women and LGBTQ plus people that you can call out for us?
I would say Logo is doing a great job. I mean,
Love that.
yeah, and I mean it totally. And I also really love what Autostraddle is doing, and the fact that they have been around for as long as they have while remaining independent, I think is really admirable. I think that what we need in the future for queer media to be sustainable is like a totally new business model. And I'm not a business person, so I can't tell you what that would look like. But I
Mm.
think it's cool to see Autostraddle do a like user-based model that keeps them running based on their readership.
I feel like sometimes the people that aren't the business model people have the best business model ideas because it's not, you're like thinking in more creative ways that are exciting to and relatable to people. So that's so interesting that you say that. So you left media last year to run Netflix's Most. How
Yeah.
is that gig going?
It's amazing. I love
Yeah.
Most. I love my team. It's like it's such a dream job. I love what we're doing, which is it's a social media platform for Netflix's LGBTQ plus storytelling. And I've always advocated for queer people, no matter where I've been working or what I've been doing, and having it as my job and not something I do because I care about it is, I mean, obviously I'm doing it because I care about it and it's my job.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it's such an amazing thing when it's like something you would have already done, and then it's your job. So you're like, oh, this is a win-win at the same time. We know Netflix, for me, I feel like is really a mecca for queer content, queer shows. Are there any shows that queer shows specifically that you are watching either right now or you've watched recently that you're just like, this is it?
There is a movie coming out in February called I Care a Lot, starring Rosamund Pike and Isaac Gonzalez. And it is a deeply unhinged, chaotic movie, and I'm obsessed with it, and I can't stop talking about it. I watched it like with my hands over my face, and I'm not gonna give anything away except that they are a couple, and everyone in the movie is a bad guy, and it's just like, oh, it's so good.
That cast right there is just like, oof, so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Um, well, we here at Logo Live, and I'm speaking for everyone because I just know this already, but we love everything that you all are doing at Most. It's such a refreshing thing to see on social media, and I love the people that work on your team. Like Rose is just one of my faves. So we're so
Yes.
happy that you're doing that. You told New Now Next recently that the next book you want to work on would be something sci-fi. Why sci-fi?
Because I'm a secret nerd. I've always loved science fiction. One of my favorite authors is Octavia Butler. And I was trying to think about why I got into writing in the first place. I always just wanted to write. And when I was younger, I really just wanted to write fiction. And I always took creative writing classes and really thought that that's where my life would take me. So I wanted to just get back to that person and that dream. So the thing I started working on, it's not like exactly science fiction, it's more like dystopian.
Oh.
It's very queer. And regardless of what happens with it, it was just like really fun to do and really fun to think about something that wasn't fashion.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you and the time I have for you today. I'm so happy that you could, you know, even join us and talk about the book. And I'm so excited for it to come out. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. It was so great to meet you.